Well, hey there, it's Matt, and this is sort of a back to school kind of edition of the music post. It's been a little while since I've prepared a music post here, feels like anyway. And so I've been going through my digital music. I've been going through my MP3 files because this is the summer where for sure I've switched from a smartphone. The strategic downgrade took place. I've gone to a flip phone, very limited capacity device from a digital standpoint. And so I'm now relying on old school MP3s to listen when I go anywhere. I don't drive, so my feet get me pretty much anywhere that I go in Fort McMurray. And so I like to listen to music. And having said that, I'm now pretty deep back into my, what do you call it, aughts to around 2015 kind of music that accumulated through iTunes. iTunes still has a functional storefront where you can purchase proprietary MP3 copies of LPs by artists who may not necessarily be on Bandcamp or whatever. I have also gone back into Bandcamp because there are a few releases that when I bought vinyl for them some years back through Bandcamp, they come with, people may know this, complimentary or I guess just you get the digital as well with the same cost. And to that effect, I've really found some enjoyment, I guess, in reconfiguring my music listening capability a bit over the past summer, including this past Labor Day weekend. I started writing this post on Saturday, thinking it would go out sometime on the Labor Day weekend proper, but didn't quite happen. But that's okay. Today is the first day of school, public school here in Canada. Both my kids, I have a grade 8 child and I have a grade 11 child, both kind of tall young men at this point, really. Not really children anymore in the sense of being small kids or anything. But it's a big year. It's a big year for both of them. And here I am in Alberta. My kids are in BC. I'm on my way back to BC for what do you call it? Traveling purposes, traveling while continuing to work for as long as I can. Here's hoping to break back into the job market relatively soon, I hope. But in the meantime, I'm trying to stay productive. I'm trying to, I guess, speak within my cultural purview as far as somebody who's into music and technology and other cultural enterprises. And so for this, what you call it, MP3 overview, I thought I would pair some of what I've been listening to, my downloaded proprietary files, along with a bit of a discussion, maybe of a few of the newer things that are either coming out in the future this fall or have maybe just come out just recently. This is actually part one of a two-part post, but I wanted to get this out at least today because I started writing it on Saturday. And so down below, I spend a bit of time talking about, for starters, the replacements, along with Paul Westerberg's solo LP, the Folker LP in specific, as well as his collaboration with Juliana Hatfield, aka the I Don't Cares, which came out as recently as 2016. So 9 years ago at this point. But in terms of the replacements, they're my favorite band. I think I can say that. And I've listened to them since I was 15, right? Just incessantly. I purchased most of the solo releases by solo members and the like. I actually have the very outstanding Tommy Stinson Bash and Pop Friday Night is Killing Me album, which is kind of, that was his first release post replacements. I'll be speaking to that a bit in part two, the MP3 post part two in a few days. But for me, the replacements The All for Nothing and Nothing for All Sire Years kind of deep cuts comp that came out in, I think, 1997 is what I read online. There are some tracks on there that I think are just outstanding and probably deserve to be maybe a bit better known than they are, including uh, Beer for Breakfast, right? Kind of a throwaway from the Don't Tell a Soul sessions, which is actually really, really good, along with the Tommy Stinson song Satellite. And that's actually something where it probably should have gone on All Shook Down. You could see it fitting in. The record company chose not to include it for their own reasons. And there's just a lot on the comp that came out. It was really special when it came out. And so I'm grateful to have access to it for my listening purposes when I'm out and about here in Fort Mac. The Folker LP, not Paul Westerberg, that is, not his most well known or necessarily even highest regarded solo album. The more I listen to it, the more I enjoy it. It's just really loose, really. I mean, he's playing all the instruments himself, including the drums. So it's got this very intentionally, I think, sloppy, ramshackle, highly personal quality to it that, in terms of instrumentation and performance, really takes the songs further, as a matter of fact, with the highly personal style that Westerberg is famous for. And then his collaboration with Juliana Hatfield, the I Don't Cares. My understanding is they came together, recorded pretty quickly based off songs that Paul had accumulated over a lot of years recording in his basement. And so hearing some of those older, maybe recordings previously unreleased, but played with Juliana doing background vocals and playing bass too, I think, as well as um, who knows what else. But it's a really passionate, engaging release. And I think probably it's the last proper LP of Paul Westerberg, new music, quote unquote, that we're going to get, honestly. The replacements keep putting out enhanced reissues of their records, including a reissue of Let It Be that is out. I think it's out right now. I'm going to get it when I can really dig into purchasing vinyl again. I don't know when that's going to be. So I'm sure the reissue, including additional material, is going to be rad. But again, in terms of the current purpose of going through Bandcamp and uh, Apple iTunes and the like, it's just been really cool spending some time with recordings that I haven't necessarily spent as much time with over the years. And then I guess further to that, I don't want this video to go on forever, but I spent some time talking about Time Bomb High School, my favorite LP by the Reigning Sound. Greg Cartwright is Greg Oblivion, if you're aware of their garage punk, uh, the Oblivions from Memphis in the mid 90s. Reigning Sound has been going on as Greg's kind of de facto vehicle for his songs with a pretty, I think, rotating cast of characters over the years since 2000, 1998 thereabouts. Time Bomb High School being their second LP, and it's just it hits on all the cylinders. It's bluesy, it swings, it's garage rock, country rock is how it's described on Discogs, which I think is fair. And it's just really good stuff. I've enjoyed it a lot over the years. I also managed to find some time here to talk about Turbo Negro, Apocalypse Dudes. Absolutely heavy, 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 glam centered punk from Norway with very, how do you call it, homoerotic overtones in the lyrics. Make of that what you will. It's a significant factor of Turbo Negro as artists, and on that album in particular, including Rock Against Ass, including Don't Say Motherfucker, Motherfucker, including Dungaree High. There are so many classics on that LP. So it's always a pleasure to just get my brainless rock on when I'm walking about from point to point here in Fort Mac. Brainless, I mean, in the very best possible sense of the term. And then I guess getting a bit into the newer. Oh, and sorry, I don't want to overlook. I don't want to forget talking about Frank Turner's outstanding fourth LP, "England Keep My Bones." It just really floored me when I first heard it. It was my first time encountering Frank's singing or songwriting, and he's had an outstanding career. He's super busy, very prolific, lots of records since then, but England Keep My Bones for me is special. It's just really personal, really literary, really fun, and it's folky, but it's also very punky, very much at the same time, equally. So it's just a really awesome, thoughtful, deep record that I still come back to a lot. Frank is just such an awesome, positive force as an independent artist, anyway. And then shifting, I guess, into some newer music. So not MP3s as such, but new music that I'm listening to. Roach Squad featuring Leatherface alumni, Leatherface singer Frankie Stubbs. I'm such a fan of Leatherface. I'm such a fan of Frankie's songs, singing and songwriting, both. He only sings on one song on Roach Squad. The vocals are mainly handled by St. Catherine's Hugo Moody from Montreal. Really awesome singer. I've talked about Leatherface, the St. Catherine's, and Meditation, another collab between the two, variously over on the Today New Brunswick Tomorrow the World music podcast when that was still going. Talked about those groups a lot, and so their current release, I've yet to listen to the whole thing because I'm kind of saving it for later. But the songs that I've heard, including Little Magic, but then especially I Wonder, which is, I guess, the most recent visual they put out, that actually is sung by Frankie. So that is just a real treasure for me, discovering that and listening to that earlier today. Also, Dave Hause and the Mermaid. Dave Hause has a band, first of all, called The Mermaid, and this current LP that's being released later this month in its entirety is called And the Mermaid, shouting out his band, right? And again, I've been aware of Dave House for a few years. I think I first picked up uh, Bury Me in Philly and Drive It Like It's Stolen, those two LPs out of his entire discography. I picked them up on vinyl back in early 2023, so a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago at this point, and just really enjoyed it right out of the gate. Just so much fun, such an engaging singer, so prolific too. There's a whole lot of his albums and releases out there that I'm definitely due to check in with. I think the hallmark of a powerful artist is, in fact, somebody who makes you curious about their wider discography, and with Dave, there's a lot of it. He's currently touring Canada right now. I'm probably going to end up missing, definitely going to miss his BC shows by just a couple of weeks, but that's okay. So, really talented, really looking forward to that full length album when it comes out. And I also speak a bit here to the Lemonheads, and they have a new LP coming out, Love Chant. Evan Dando, such a singular artist. The Lemonheads playing punk music, but then now at this point, Evan Dando is the only remaining person from the original group, and he's kind of taken it on as a de facto solo project. He's released a couple of studio albums anyway, called the Lemonheads, but I mean, he's doing covers of other people's songs and things like this. So, Love Chant is significant in that it's the first LP recorded with the Lemonheads of original new songs, and it says on the internet, a couple of decades almost. So, that's really cool. The Deep End is the name of the new track, the emphasis track, the visual, featuring background vocals by Juliana Hatfield and a guitar solo by Jay Mascis. You didn't see what I just had to cut out. I had sort of a bit of a blank there. I had to cut out some of the video because I didn't want to do this video for a third time. That's where we're at with the video posts. And so I'll say as well that Evan has a memoir coming out. He has a memoir, Rumors of My Demise. And although it doesn't say on the cover, it was co written by author, rock writer extraordinaire Jim Ruland, who I've interviewed a couple of times, once for the Ed Non-Tech podcast and then once for Writers on Writing. Super nice guy, such a talented writer. And I'm really going to be curious to check out the memoir, see that collaboration. So, again, there's going to be part two of this MP3 kind of centered music post coming out between now and the end of the weekend. And I guess further to that, we're going to be probably speaking about some new music as additional newer music at any rate. And so this is where I say thanks for checking this out. Appreciate anybody who's looking at this whatsoever. And I hope for teachers or students out there that your first week back at school is absolutely great. And yeah, thanks for checking this out. Take care and bye for now.